Welcome.
What? Let's go. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to episode 6 of the Webcomic Beacon Presents First Issue.
I'm Marcus.
I'm Melissa.
And I'm Fes. And we've been doing a few of the issues so far. And one thing I wanted to ask about... Okay, so this is supposed to be a reboot. But I've heard that they said it's not really a reboot.
It's a relaunch.
It's a relaunch.
Relaunch
so you got
reboot.
Reboot. It's not a relaunch, not a reboot.
There's a difference.
Okay, so and I've gathered that by reading some of the issues.
Actually, more appropriately, it's called a publicity stunt.
Ah, well.
Yes.
But I'm like kind of looking at this. It's like it looks like they're in general, because I've read ahead. But so it kind of looks like some of the continuity may still exist, because it seems like they're using some of it. But of course, it's a number one, so you can't count on the previous issue, the other issues, because they haven't established for sure yet. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of like, yeah, some of it's kind of, we're working off of it, but we're not going to tell you specifically, so you can't cry foul for continuity, because it's number one, you only can go off of this. Looks like they're setting everything in the sort of now, so the kind of maybe the aughts and on, as far as, what are you guys doing?
Nothing.
Put my magic pencil down. Kill somebody with that.
I'm watching you. Watching you like
Anyway.
Storm.
Speaking of Storm, we're going to look into Stormwatch, number 1 from the new 52.
That was a really odd digression.
All right, so Marcus, if you're done being creepy, we're going to take a look at this cover here.
I'm certainly not.
You're not going to take a look at the cover?
Well,
No,
all right.
I'm certainly not done being creepy.
All right. Well, we got 3 clear figures coming up here from I guess a holographic display, kind of. I don't know. It looks kind of like, we're creepy bastards.
It's Sunman, not Batman, and Martian Manhunter.
Actually, it kind of looks like they might be telling ghost stories around a campfire.
It's just a look. It's okay if they decide to establish the Midnight Society inside their Stormwatch globe or whatever this is. It's quite all right. Okay, superheroes can have fun too. Shit, you guys are so critical.
That globe has a lot of alerts on it.
Well, yeah, they take care of shit, man. Superhero.
Well, I'm kind of looking at this, and I see this kind of globe, and it's like wondering, is this a comic about weather? There's like alert things going on. Amid tornado watch.
Honestly,
it's storm watch. So it's like
I kind of can't blame you. Okay,
that would be
knowing nothing
awesome.
about it, that actually.
I would watch the Weather Channel if it were more like this cover art.
Holy fuck yeah! Could you imagine that shit?
It's Stormwatch, and so they're gonna be chasing tornadoes and shit.
And the first one kind of looks like it. I'm like, holy shit! There's a nebula going crazy, and I'm like, oh, that's background. Oh, okay. Other superheroes, I guess you don't have to fight cosmic level storms.
So you're reading this. The first page, you got some kind of crazy stuff going on, and by the bottom of it, you see there's a little asterisk about they're asking, hey, what's going on here? And they saying that they don't know, but the asterisk at the bottom says, yes, just see Superman number 1. And it's like on sale at September 8th, so which is well after this issue. So I was like, okay, so you're gonna make me cross tie everything already?
That's very old school.
They haven't done that for at least 10, 15 years.
Yeah,
well, I thought it was fairly...
that is something that happened quite frequently in older comics.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that it's not too dependent on me having to buy another comic.
I mean, it seems like all it is a throwaway word.
Yeah,
they never bring it up again. It doesn't really have to do with what they're doing.
It's a footnote. It's the if you want to know more about this, go here.
As opposed to what they would do later, where they would never give those footnotes, and instead they would simply tell an incomplete story, and you have to know to buy, let's say, this mini-series that is also part of this event that you thought you were reading. Mm-hmm. But here, it's just a footnote, and it's perfectly all right for me, just because it's not integral to the story.
Yes.
So I'm going through this, and I'm feeling the art is fairly muddy.
Yeah, there's a lot of, it's very, very detailed, although they kind of pull back with the color just to make the story more clear. But it almost feels like the characters are kind of pasted in over a background sometimes. The thing I do like about the art is that the faces are really great. The penciler really has a feel for human facial expression. And they're using more than 3 facial expressions on these characters. It reminds me of Kevin McGuire's art. But otherwise, I'm not big on the art.
Okay.
And for me, as far as the storytelling, the only issue that I really had was I don't know who any of these characters are, which is okay at the beginning, not so good at the end when I feel the same way.
Still don't know what the hell's going on here.
Yeah, because I mean, I understand that they're a...
Well, I know who they are, but not like...
well, I understand like what it is they do. I don't understand who these people are. Now, I just happen to have enough prior knowledge of the DC universe to know vaguely who, say, Martian Manhunter is, the green character here. But that's all I know, is I know vaguely who he is. Everyone else is pretty much new to me. I understand that, like, the guy they're trying to recruit is the Superman analog of this group that had at one point been in a different universe. It wasn't always part of DC proper.
Well, we can't assume that's what it is now, anyway.
Yeah, we can. That's what they've been... They very explicitly do that at the beginning.
Not from what I've heard from some other DC 52 relaunches, where they're kind of scrapping whole bits, so we don't know unless they say...
They do. They say, to understand what we're talking about here, see Superman number 1.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't get Superman number 1 yet, so we don't know that.
Why was Superman
part of
the DC universe?
Well, no. That didn't come out before this came out.
What are you talking about? So Superman is not going to be part of...
No,
it said
Superman number 1, September 28th.
So we can't use that right now for this comic to justify anything what's going on here. Remember, this is the first issue.
This came out in the first wave of comics.
This is the first issue
before the Superman issue.
So we can't apply anything else than what we know is told to us in here.
Yeah, such as the fact that it ties in some way to Superman number 1, which will be coming out later.
Right, but we don't know anything about that, and we also can't use whatever these characters...
It tells you there.
Well, we know
we don't know what happens in that
haven't read we are unable to read the comic yet, so we can't...
We also can't make any past assumptions of these characters in here.
Which I'm not doing. All I'm saying is that... No, I'm not making any past assumptions. I'm simply making future assumptions. That if they're telling you that, okay, this thing they're talking about has a tie with Superman number 1. Superman being a very iconic, and some would say the most iconic, of DC superheroes. If that's the case, one can infer from that maybe this takes place in the same universe. Maybe.
Well, we'll see. We'll see once we get to that episode, which I don't know what it will be.
We get the Superman number 1, and they say, oh, fuck what Stormwatch told you, they're liars.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Now, if they did, I'd respect them. That'd be hilarious. However, but the point I'm making is, I don't know who any of those characters are at the beginning, and I don't know at the end.
Yeah.
They're a team of superheroes that are trying to recruit a new member, and there's something on the moon.
Yeah, there's something on the moon. The moon's turning into something, and then there's like this guy that's on the moon falls in, and there's I get the sense that stuff is happening.
It goes all
a lot of stuff is happening.
It's
like I have no idea what's going on. I don't know who these people are. Why should I care? You're not answering anything for me. The underlying art is interesting, but the colors are just things aren't coming out enough. They kind of blend into the background too much.
Yeah.
There's not enough here for me to care to buy the next one.
Yeah, the same here. The way I would put it is, like I've said earlier, and maybe this is your first issue, you don't know, I kind of categorize a lot of these comics into either ones that are for new readers or ones that are bringing in old readers. This, I think, is very specific, that is trying to bring in old Stormwatch readers. In that what the draw is of this is, look how different Stormwatch is in this version. And what they're showing you is, okay, you're a Stormwatch fan, you know this guy, you know this guy, you know this guy, this guy's hurt. Oh my god, you know who he is, you care. If you aren't invested in Stormwatch, you're like, the fuck? But for the people that I think they're trying to go for, they're like, holy shit, I think they just killed dude on the moon. You know, or like, oh my god, that dude may not join this version, or this guy looks like he's sort of in a third party. He's supposed to be with them.
Yeah.
You know, you don't... It's like you were.
But of course, on the cover, he did join.
Which is why that's why I'm confused, because it's assuming that eventually he does, but it's very similar to the Justice League thing in that respect, where it's like, okay, these are the people who will be on the team, but you're gonna watch how they join.
Okay.
But for me, it doesn't really do anything because I'm not a Stormwatch reader.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same camp. I did not get invested in the characters because I have no background on previous Stormwatch comics.
Right.
And I presume that if I had been following Stormwatch before, I would be engaged, but it just didn't pull me in. And what really disappoints me is Paul Cornell wrote this, and I love Paul Cornell to bits. I love the way he uses dialogue. There are some very nice touches to the way dialogue is used, but the thing is every issue of a comic is going to be somebody's first issue of the comic, and you probably should be mindful of, well, you need to at least explain the basics somehow in the dialogue or in the art. And I don't think this comic did that.
Yeah,
So succeed, Matt, or fail?
For the purposes of what we're talking about here, fail.
And I would have to say the same, although what I think we're looking at here is
As a number one.
As a number one.
As a number one.
No, listen to me.
Maybe?
What I'm saying is we're looking at the dark twin sister to the JLA book. Not only in terms of its design. I mean, clearly it's a darker JLA, sort of. But it's in terms of the storytelling, the way it's told. Justice League shows you every single character on the front and then shows you 3. 2 for the majority of it, 1 at the very end. It succeeded because we got invested in those characters, and we will be invested in the remaining ones.
So final verdict.
Final verdict is fail because this one gives us everybody from Jump, and as a result, we don't know anybody.
Right.
Because we're getting introduced to 50 new people, and we're like, okay, wait. Let's say for the sake of argument, maybe I connected with one character. I'm like, oh my god, that guy looks cool. Guess what? He's got 3 lines. You'll never get to, like I have a very hard time getting into that, because even if you're, I mean, even taking back what I said, if you are a longtime fan, presumably you have a favorite character.
Yeah.
And God help you if it's not the main guy. Not Superman. What's his fucking name? Sunman?
Sunman.
Fucking Apollo.
Apollo. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Sunman.
Well, Apollo is Sunman.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, like if your favorite guy is not Apollo, you are fucked. Because it's about Apollo, but he doesn't get any fucking lines. He says like 4 things at the end, and it's all variations of "fuck you, I'm not going." And it's like, dude, I've seen the cover. Shut the fuck up and join.
As a first issue, I have to say fail. I'm not invested. I'd be a new reader. It might be different if you're familiar with these characters.
Yeah, that's your boy.
As a number one, Stormwatch, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.